Hey,
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
in the D's.
Life in the Diaz. You know what it is. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Ooh, buttery.
Like butter, baby.
Check one, check one. All systems a go. You know what day it is. You guessed it. You was right.
Hump day.
Hump day. Radio channel is on.
Hey.
YouTube, Facebook. All right. Well, good morning.
Hey.
Good morning, good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B. the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Good morning on this Wednesday, August the 23rd.
Man.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, man. Almost the end of the month.
Man, almost the end of the year. Can you believe it? Just about 4 more months left in the year.
That's crazy. Very crazy, very crazy. Good morning to you. I see chat chimers coming in on YouTube.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Leia Keisha said, "What's up Wednesday?" I heard that.
What's up?
What's up? Tracy Shot in the house. What's going on? Good morning. Good morning to you. We had a good time. We were just looking at some footage from your party at the Benson Theater. We had a good time. Funky good time. Amy H. Dot in the house says, "Good morning, fam." Good morning to you as well. Appreciate you coming on in. How you guys doing today? What's going on Hump Day? Middle of the week. How's that treating you?
Yeah. Is a week heavy on your back?
I'll tell you what's heavy on everybody's back out here. The heat is heavy on everybody's head, for real.
There's still a heat advisory out there?
Yeah. And it's 102 today. It's going to be 102 tomorrow. They talking about it might be up to 107 on Saturday, bro. So that ain't cool, literally.
Boodooms, pun intended.
Pops in the house says, "Good Wednesday morning, First Sky, and love from Las Vegas." Appreciate you, Pops.
Hey.
I noticed if it's hot here, it's got to be hot there.
Man, my thoughts exactly. What's the desert feeling like?
He gonna tell you it's feeling like 77. Cool AC.
Yeah.
This is that time though to start calling everybody around, make sure their AC's working all over the place because it's getting hectic. Shout out to the radio listeners. Appreciate the 6:30 Club getting up and checking us out this morning. Let me know how the mix was, and for those of you radio listeners out in Texas, let me know how the heat is out there on y'all. It's a rough thing. What's going on with you, buddy? What's the heat like over there? Are you in the oven of Atlanta?
Yeah, it's been pretty hot. I don't know if it's been up, to the levels that you're dealing with over there in Omaha. But yeah, it's been pretty scorching. Spending a lot of time inside.
Heard that, man.
Yeah, I'm right there with Pops. He's saying exactly. Yes, a cool 75, 72.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I'm thankful for the air conditioner every day because this I actually had to move around a lot yesterday, walk around, going back and forth to the theater and stuff like that. Bro, that heat will wear you. That humidity will wear you out. It was heavy on my lungs. It did not feel good at all, bro.
Man, yeah. I was dealing with some car issues, and a couple days ago, walked to go get my son from school, and yeah, we all took a nap when we got back. Yeah, the day was pretty much over after that.
Cool AC. We
Man.
were just talking about somebody yesterday who knew somebody who was doing some roofing with
Mm-mm.
tar out in this weather. I was like, y'all are doing too much.
Yeah.
So we're like, we need to
Yeah.
call somebody's boss. What's that all about? You got your workers out on the
Man.
roof like that.
But that's kind of anybody who I've talked to who has done roofing in the past, like, yeah, that's just par for the job.
Nah,
And you on the roof, no shade, just get used to being in the sun.
nah, brother. It's being in the sun is one thing. Being in the humidity, running
Mm.
tar is a whole nother thing. I used to roof. We would not have gotten up on day like yesterday.
Okay.
I need to
Okay.
put that way off. But also, I was roofing in California, and like Brooke is saying right now in the chat, she says, "I take the dry desert heat over this heat here. It's a difference. This humidity is a difference.
Mm.
It makes a big difference to the heat, man. It feels like I can't even explain what it feels like compared to dry heat. I'll get up on the roof in 102-degree weather, dry heat any day. But this stuff where you can't breathe, tough.
Yeah. Malik Rogers coming with the real dangers, saying this heat is no joke. Prayers for Worthington's
I'm
family.
glad you brought it up.
Definitely.
Yeah, we
Definitely.
definitely gonna talk about it today, man, and put the GoFundMe out there too for the family. Tragedy, man. It's
Man.
hard to even be hyped this week with what just happened, man. It's just incredible. For those of you who don't know, a little girl died in a car today or this week. Was left in a car in this heat, passed away. So
5 hours, report said.
can't imagine what the family's going through, man. But we're going to talk about it a little bit today, because it's just where we're at right now. Boost to the roof, call
Mm-hmm.
to action. If we can't do anything, we can hit that GoFundMe and help them out.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, appreciate you bringing that up, brother Rogers, and good morning to you. Good morning, Judy Prinzler. Appreciate you coming in. And Wanda Lewis says good morning. Good morning to you as well. Thanks for coming in on Facebook. Sometimes I don't know if Facebook is working till y'all get here. So
Man.
yeah, so you guys are on Facebook. Also, Rome's Review says I had heat exhaustion twice in these last few years. Man,
Man.
better watch out, bro. Brooks said this heat is this is the heat Donald Glover was talking about. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty
Mm.
amazing. It's pretty amazing. And it's like 9, 10 o'clock at night, still 102. Yeah, it's tough, bro. It's something different. And the thing is, I can keep on saying 102, but it's I grew up in 102 weather. This is 102 weather with 89% humidity.
Like you feel it.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's boiling.
Boiling really does something to your breathing. I really feel like I can see how people just pass out. You know what I'm saying? So this ain't no joke.
Mm-hmm.
People can die from this heat for real. And
Air
in the
stick.
car, in the car. A couple of days this week, I literally had to turn the car on, let the air conditioner blast, stand outside until it cooled off some. It's too hot in the car.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been kind of dealing with that. Actually, windows aren't exactly working
Mm.
on my car. So yeah, it can get dangerous, man. It can get dangerous. Definitely. Again, prayers goes out to the Worthington family.
Yep. Thanks for joining us today. This is Wednesday. We do have a special guest coming in. As a matter of fact, Chat Chimer.
Yeah.
Miss Erika Felt's gonna come in and talk about what's going on here with the state of child care. She has a call to action that we'll be talking about as well. So another thing for all the Chad Chimers and all the Ghost listeners to try to get up on and help direct some of these funds to where they need to go for proper child care, man. So it's gonna be the child care day today. A few stories on the subject and a few other things we're gonna talk about with her. So stay tuned for Miss Erika Felt coming on. And then we'll do. We got the usual headlines going on. There's a lot of stuff in the news today. As a matter of fact, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
moves happening. Just thinking about what's going on. What's on my mind these days is still Maui. There's still 1,000 people missing and unaccounted for over
Man,
there.
I saw a video now. Italy is on fire. Yeah, man. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm starting to disbelieve the whole uh global warming, natural fire. Like, it's too many fires going on all over the place.
What do you mean you disbelieve global warming in the sense that's the reason
That
why?
all of these fires are just happening just by themselves.
Oh, I don't know about fires. I mean, fires is too easy to start. So I'm sure there's something going on. I don't know if the fires is happening like that, but the weather conditions that are making the fires be as bad as they are, because remember they had hurricane winds in Maui, so that wind was spreading that fire around wherever the fire was coming
Mm.
from. What the heck is this?
Uh-oh. You good over there? You still with us?
I guess so. I don't know what just happened. Something popped up on us. Okay, got it. All right, I'm back.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. But at any rate, yeah, definitely prayers going out to the people losing land, losing loved ones, losing, just their own way of life. Regardless of where the fire is coming from, it has a real impact. So definitely, prayers going out to those families.
Yep, yep. So with that said, man, let us know what's on your hearts and minds, what you guys are thinking about. I think whole city of Omaha right now is just thinking about the tragedy that just happened, for sure. But a lot of other things in the news that we're definitely gonna be talking about. Sometimes you get to talking about some things you just don't feel important when you got really really tragic stuff going on in town. So it's just
Yeah, man. Yeah,
yeah.
man. With that, man, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm all right. I mean, like just staying busy, trying to survive in this heat. Um, feeling the city's pain right now, man. To be honest with you, like it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. Can't imagine losing a 1-year-old this way. And
Yeah, man.
yeah, it's tough. So definitely feeling it, man. It's weird. Like I forget about things for a minute, and then I'll just be like, man, why am I still feeling like this? And remember, and then you turn on the TV or look on social media, man, it's all over. The family released her photo, and the family wants justice, and the family's been very vocal. And so it's in your face, and it's a tough thing to really deal with. I'm thinking about the what happened to a brother got arrested over this. They went ahead and shut the daycare down. Like Marlon Harrison said, I feel bad for kids that still have to school. I just saw a parent complain on the news that his kids still have to go to school in this heat. The heat, yeah, this is still a thing. It's still, like people got to watch this thing every day still. Like, kids are suffering. School just started, and it's like record heat going on out here. Just, I don't know, man. It feels real heavy to be here right now. Usually I'm feeling like this when it starts snowing, but right now I'm like in the middle of the summer going, this is some unbearable situations going on here. Right.
Man, yeah, a lot of heat, a lot of tragedy. I definitely check on your loved ones. Man, take care of yourselves.
Brooke said, yeah, I feel they should cancel school and everything right now. Well,
yeah, she also said earlier that she felt like she was going to pass out the other day while walking on UNO's campus. So yeah, y'all definitely, again, we kind of say it lightheartedly, but really take care of yourselves. Hydrate, stay hydrated. Call your elderly folk. Look after your pets.
yeah, check on the ones
dangerous.
that can't fix that AC when it goes bad. Judy Princeton in the chat says AC at North and Burke not fully functioning.
Really?
Man, that's quite the report there. So
Man, yet another OPS issue.
Better pull I'd be pulling the kids out in a hot minute over that kind of stuff. Better check on that and see what's going on there for real. Miss Erika Felt in the chat already. Good says one of the air units at North High School is out this week, so we were told about the importance of water.
That's crazy.
Shake my head. I'm shaking my head too. That's crazy. Man,
that school can get hot, man. Especially if you're upstairs.
That's crazy, man. They still gonna send the kids to school and tell them to drink water. There we are, Hump Day, Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. And we've already are feeling the effects of the week. It's a tough one.
Yeah, man.
Let us know. Give us some good news. Let us know what's good in your life. What's going on with you and your hearts and minds.
What you excited
about? Yeah. I'll start with you, bud. How you feeling, man?
I mean, I'll be honest, man. I'm not going to make the feeling any better, man. Dealing with a lot of things personally. Yeah. Still, grieving the loss of my cousin, who passed while I was there in Omaha. Just going through a lot of personal changes. So yeah. Glad to be here though.
Yeah. Glad to be here too. And I'm glad that you guys are here with us. We'll go ahead and start this very somber edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning. Diaz is going down. Let's do it. What up? What up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us. Wednesday, August the 23rd, 2023. Got a special guest coming on today pretty soon, a little later on. Miss Erika Felt, a chat chimer, longtime chat chimer, is going to come on and talk to us about some things going on with early child care because there's some changes that we need for real. So we'll talk to
Yeah.
her, hear her statement, as well as her call to action for us as well. So stay tuned for that. Really appreciate her coming on, sharing this information, doing the deep dive on this subject. Child care is definitely an evergreen subject topic for us. We talk about it all the time. And now the season 6 that we're in, Boots to the Roots, it's all about hitting the ground and trying to make some actual change happen with some of these things and really take care of the kids and take care of the families, support families that have kids so they can do what they got to do as well. So
Yeah.
can't wait to get on these subjects and talk about them. But there are some other things in the news too, buddy. You want to run down some of the things we're going to talk about today?
Yeah. Of course, one big thing happening throughout the state is workforce development. Of course, we've been talking about LB 1024 and the economic, economic recovery funds that are supposed to come to East Omaha. And again, all of that is in the spirit of drumming up jobs, drumming up business, trying to get people working. And Governor Jim Pillen apparently has a plan for that and has set up a few working groups of businesses. So we'll talk about that plan and how we can get more young folk in jobs, particularly young folk. Again, and we also talk about here on the show some of the violence that happens in our communities and how we can address it. And more jobs, more opportunities is definitely a way. So again, we'll definitely talk about that. As Paul mentioned, looking forward to speaking with Miss Erika Felt. She's been reminding us about the changes happening with Department of Health and Human Services and the Child Care Development Fund, the block grant finances that are coming. So definitely looking forward to that conversation. Also looking at childhood education. Again, this is definitely on the heels of the whole SEL debate that went down in the state, and of course now us hearing about OPS shutting down a few elementary schools due to special needs education. Again, what is going on with education? And there's now new research from the Buffett Early Childhood Institute that's showing that Nebraska is actually moving in the wrong direction. Big surprise, huh? So yeah, we'll actually talk about that new report. And again, what can we do? What can we do? Especially those of you with young children or in the child care industry, would definitely love to hear your thoughts. As always, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. Also, this story will definitely impact a lot of us. I know me and Paul are in this boat talking about student loans. Nebraska Examiner has a new article about how there are new federal policies that are changing. Again, repaying student loans and what's going on, still keeping a close eye on the Biden administration's promise to relieve some millions of borrowers from their student loans. So again, we'll definitely look at what's going on with this situation. And also Creighton has some new programs. Again, they're receiving finances to train new nursing students. Again, nursing and health care is a big industry in the Omaha area. So we'll be talking about that also. And as always, if there's anything that we're not talking about, feel free to drop that into the chat. Let your mind be free. And again, most importantly, let your voice be heard. So without further ado, Paul,
Yo.
what's going
Man,
on?
yeah, let's definitely jump into some things. You said something about that study that the Buffett Institute did about going in the wrong direction, and I didn't realize when I was looking at the article that it was the Buffett Foundation that put that out. So that brings up a whole nother thing that I want to get into when we get to talking about that, because we talked to some boots to the roots, feet on the ground child care providers in our neighborhoods that are saying it's places like the Buffett child care places that are causing so much harm in our neighborhoods with
Mm-hmm.
our youth. So if they got a study out there saying we're going in the wrong direction, are they the ones that are going to try to fix it? So when we come to that, I'll wait till Miss Erika Felt come on so we can get to talking about that with somebody as well. But first of all, in the meantime, I do want to acknowledge what happened with our little sister this week, just so that we can make sure that we let everybody know that we say thoughts and prayers to the family, but season 6 boosted the roots. We ain't really thinking just about thoughts and prayers. We're thinking about trying to help support and figure out what can be done. And of course, I'm talking about Miss Ra'Miyah Worthington, who passed away this week,
Mhm.
and as a result of her being left in a vehicle. Their family's already been very vocal about wanting some justice, and bringing some awareness to the situation. It's not going to be swept under the rug here. There's nothing that can be done about that. They gotta talk about it, and they're out talking about it already. So there's been several articles out. We have not talked to the family at all, but we've been reading, of some of the things that they've been saying, and they also put a GoFundMe out to try to help, which I'm going to put in the chat right now. So again, boost to the roots for us means, we help any way we can, and of course, monetarily, any little bit will help. $5, $10, whatever you got, just a show of help will definitely help this family get through what they got to get through, because you can imagine that we all know what it costs to bury a loved one, and it's a shame.
Man.
You hadn't start saving for that for your 1 year old yet. So
Yep.
definitely help if you can. But let's jump into a little bit of the story there, so people can know some of the details what we're talking about here, if you don't mind, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. Again, we've been talking about the heat index all week, again, getting into the triple digits, almost teens in the triple digits, 114, 117 real feel. And as Pops mentioned in the chat, sometimes in the vehicle that could be even 20, 30 degrees higher than what's the feel outside. So again, very dangerous situations in vehicles, and especially with young children who, let's be honest, their body hasn't really reached a level of equilibrium to be able to regulate their own body temperature. That's it's hard for young children to be exposed to the elements. So again, this tragedy is hitting even harder as heat index reached 110 degrees late Tuesday. About 40 people gathered outside of Kids of the Future 2 Child Care Center, which is the child care center where this took place. Under the blistering sun, Ra'Miyah's friends and families chanted her name as they wiped away sweat and tears. Again, if we're hot, just standing here now, Crystal Johnson, a cousin of Ra'Miyah's, said, "Imagine how Ra'Miyah must have felt." Again, this is actually a situation that happened last was it last week or earlier this week. Again, a 62-year-old man, was arrested on suspicion of child abuse, resulting in the death of 1-year-old Ra'Miyah. Again, she was left in the van just Monday. So again, earlier this week, outside an Omaha daycare center, Ryan D. Williams, who is the van driver, was booked into the Douglas County Jail. He is accused of causing the death of young Ra'Miyah, who was found unresponsive in a van outside of Kids of the Future 2 daycare located at 5001 Leavenworth Street. Omaha police spokesman said Tuesday that the van belonged to the daycare center. Also, Omaha Fire Department medics were called to the scene shortly after 3 p.m. and transported the child to Nebraska Medical Center, where she was unfortunately declared dead. Her body temperature at the hospital is reported to have been 109. So again, very, very high.
Mm.
Yeah. Again, condolences goes out to the family. Man, not really much sure what else to say about this tragedy. Just thinking about my children and how that might feel. Again, phone messages seeking comment left on the daycare center's voicemail service were not immediately returned, so they have not been very vocal. But director of kids safety of Olathe, Kansas, Amber Rollins, says that 4 children in Nebraska have died since 1990 as a result of being in a hot vehicle. It is at least the 19th child to die in a hot car nationwide this year alone, the first in Nebraska since 2019, she said. So not a situation that happens very often in Nebraska per se, but still a tragedy anytime it does happen. And again, this is a case of child abuse and child neglect. So,
We get on here and talk about the weather and laugh about it and stuff like that, but when we got heat advisories and stuff, it kind of got to be the first news, because it really can cause death. It's
mhm.
no joke. Heat strokes and everything else. So yeah, we like we talked about, condolences to the family. Can't imagine, what the people respond, what the man that they have just arrested is feeling as well. It sounded like the brother forgot that the child was in there. There was 3 or 4 other kids in there. Those kids came out. Just made a mistake. Sounds like just wasn't diligent in making sure all the kids were out, and maybe forgot about some of the kids.
Hmm.
Can't really speculate, but I can't imagine how that what he's going through there. But the family's like, whatever you're going through, you're supposed to be this. Your primary job is really take care of these kids, and they want justice. And they were out. You just described the scene where they were out, and that's the picture of the family and people that were out there. Saying, "Say her name. We need justice.
Yeah.
They need justice." So the arrest has been made. A GoFundMe has been put up. I went ahead and put that in the chat. And in the GoFundMe, it says, "Hi, everyone. On Monday, August 21st, many people were devastated by the unexpected death of 1-year-old Ra'Miyah Worthington due to negligence of her daycare provider. Her family is forever scarred. To help with funeral arrangements, household expenses, and the care of Ra'Miyah's 6 other siblings, I'm asking anyone who has the means to donate to please do so, even if it's just $1, so that her family can properly grieve during this extremely difficult time. Thank you, daughter of Rayon and Encino Worthington." So the family has put out a message there that anything will help, and so we just encourage everybody to give. Like I said, even if it's just $1, just do what we can do. Wanda Lewis says, "Can you post it here? You, post the link. Is that what you're looking for, Miss Lewis?" I'll post that again.
The GoFundMe.
Yes, GoFundMe link. Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll put it on Friends of First Sky Omaha. I think I just did put it on Friends of First Sky Omaha too. You can find it over there. Um, really tough, man. I'm gonna jump into the chat real quick. T Ren in the house. Good morning on YouTube. The only way it makes sense is the driver didn't actually watch the kids being loaded into the van that early in the morning by the mom, 6 a.m. I'm guessing the baby was still asleep, and so when he got to the daycare, the other kids hopped out, and he closed the door behind him, and the baby's still asleep unnoticed. I mean, could be. We're all speculating here on what could have
Yeah.
happened here,
Yeah.
and it kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say it doesn't matter how it happened. I mean, we got to kind of think about like what could have been done more diligently in order for it to not happen. But yeah, I mean, we just don't know, man. It's just too tragic. Miss Erika Felt says that last one was at a child care. The rest were parents. Talking about hot kids in the car since 1990.
Mm.
Malik Rogers says an article said that he had 9 children in his van when he arrived at the daycare and became distracted when the young boy did not want to get out of the van. Ms. Erica Phil says, "Nope, there's no mistake to be made. If he had followed the protocol taught in the transportation training, in the supervision training, did the director have him take that?" Good question.
Man, that's didn't even think about the training and yeah.
She also said there is always a sleeping child behind a child in the contrary child in the mornings. He was to write on the clipboard tally for each child boarding, and then they were to do it again after going in the center. It doesn't matter. He didn't do his job, and neither did the staff at the center.
There you go.
Again, Miss Erica Felt, we know is our first Sky Omaha resident chat chimer, who is a child care provider. So she's providing us with a lot of back end information on what drivers have to do to be drivers in the first place. So yeah, man, it's really unfortunate. I can understand why you're adamant about this. He didn't do his job. Kind of feel sorry for the brother. I can imagine how he's feeling, but at the same time, you're right. He should have done his job. The daycare should have done their job. I'm sure they're getting plenty of that. They're getting plenty of that. Pop, same thing. No excuses. But older folks can start to lose short-term memory. Wanda Lewis,
62.
Wanda Lewis says the person who oversees the baby on a daily basis should have also been missing the baby.
It's a good
Baby was
point.
in the car for 4 hours, so somebody,
5.
yeah, it wasn't just him that dropped the ball on that. Mr. Erkenfeld says, "I'm counting heads all day in my own fenced-in backyard because one can hide and get hurt. All providers count heads." T. Wren says, "I don't buy anyone for getting a child ever at all, barring some medical issue of the mind."
Mm. Mm.
You know, I don't know, man. I mean, it wouldn't happen as often if it does, if it wasn't something to it. I mean, people, sometimes people get in their cars, they get on autopilot, they drive somewhere. Somebody was just telling me a story about that yesterday. She was like, I drove all the way to work and turned around, and she was sitting there smiling at me, and I thought, what I didn't drop you off at the daycare. Your mind goes somewhere, and next thing you know, you're autopilot somewhere. I mean, no excuses,
Mhm.
right? But at the same, I mean, especially childcare people, that's what they're there to do. They're there to count heads and make
Yeah,
sure that
yeah.
that's
I
their
mean,
only job.
again, it's just a tragic situation all the way around. Um, heart goes out to now the owners of that child care facility who, may have to shut their business down at least for the time being. What does that mean for their ability to feed their children? So again, just all the way around is a tragic situation. But I do understand what the chat is saying. Like I've left a child in the car, just forgetting at my wedding actually. One of my daughters got left in the car because we were trying to unload and everything, but
Mm,
5 hours, once it gets to that, like eventually you should realize, okay, something's missing. You know what I mean? But just
al
tragic situation all the way around.
Also, this family had, she had this, Ra'Miyah had 5 other siblings, so there was a lot of kids that needed to be watched, that day. The family right now has pulled all the kids, I'm quite sure,
Yeah.
because they shut their daycare down, so they probably need some help. Most definitely just wanna reiterate, Boost to the Roots season 6 for us means drop some money in, man, like, even if it's $1. Like, let's show some support. A dollar can just be a show of support, but it also can go to the whole and help out where they need to be helped out. So I'm really encouraging all the chat chimers and ghost listeners to do that. Marlon Harrison says, "I'm surprised none of their siblings said anything." Yeah, that's another thing I thought of too. Like, how come they didn't be like, well, nobody said nothing? May have been too young to think about it. I don't know how old the siblings are. Miss Erika Felt says, "When a sibling doesn't attend, I'm asking parents why. Is there illness that these siblings in attendance may have?" It's a
Good
good
question.
question.
Good
Amy
question.
H. Dot says, "You hear about sleep deprivation in new parents, etc., and then tragedy strikes. 5 hours is absolutely neglect. We can talk about this in circles. It's just tragic."
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
agreed.
I would like to say I appreciate what Mr. Knight has to say. Mr. Stewart comes with a solution, possibly. He says, got to make it a regulation on daycares for someone outside the driver to check the van after kids come in daycare. Which kind of brings me to what Miss Erica Velt was saying as far as training and what regulations are in place,
Yeah.
just on from a state level. Like I do know that you're supposed to follow certain protocol. Wonder what that is.
Well, she can tell you. She's been telling us what that protocol is. So, we can ask her right there, Miss Erica Felt. Is there a protocol there that makes it for somebody else to check besides the driver? Let us know. Let us know about that regulation. And this kind of leads into some of the stuff that we're going to talk about a little later on. We had our content creators camp last week. Miss Gwen Easter showed up, and we know that Miss Gwen Easter is also a chat chimer and is somebody who owns a child care, runs child care facilities. Has a lot to say about what's going on with child care facilities in her neighborhood. I'm hoping that the struggle that our mom and pop shop, and larger. I mean, they're not all mom and pop shops. Some of them are major facilities on top of several facilities of local child care providers that are feeling the pinch from bigger child care providers like the Buffett Foundation, who has a place where people can go. They can get free child care from because if it's a charity. They're feeling the pinch, and every time they turn around, the Buffett Foundation is not really talking to the experts in our neighborhoods, asking them what is needed. I feel like a story like this is really gonna hurt that cause for local child care providers in our neighborhoods. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much that there is to this, and I'm sure Miss Erica Fell can speak to it more when we have her on. But there's a lot linked to this. I mean, it's not just something. It's not just an isolated incident that it reverberates in a whole bunch of different places, and
Hmm.
I'm hoping that they don't use this as fuel for that.
Man, my thoughts exactly. My thoughts exactly. Which I guess can we go ahead and pivot into this next article?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Talking about Nebraska again, this is coming out of the World Herald. Nebraska heading in wrong direction. Headline reads on childhood education support, according to research, new research from the Buffett Early Childhood Institute, which, as Paul is alluding to, is I believe the organization behind a lot of these early learning centers that we're seeing pop up, especially in North Omaha. Again, according to new research from the Institute, Nebraska is moving in the wrong direction to achieve full funding for high quality early childhood education, something that has been lacking in many communities for years, according to this article. In a study published earlier this month, the Institute warns that a looming federal funding cliff for childcare providers could further strain Nebraska's already underfunded early childhood education system. Back in 2021, the total investment needed to fund high quality childcare in Nebraska was just over $1 billion. That's according to the latest data available in the study. Funding for that year barely topped 438 million. So again, just about half, actually just under half of what the actual need was for that year, leaving about a 57% funding gap. That's in comparison to 2017, where the funding gap was 51%. So here you get the notion of Nebraska moving in the wrong direction, about a 6% increase in the gap over those years. Kathy Huddleston Casas, who's the study's author, said the gap will continue to widen following the expiration of Nebraska's $312 million federal COVID-19 relief package. This federal aid has been used by providers since 2021 as a way to help childcare afloat during the pandemic, but the majority of the funds must be spent by September. A small amount has an expiration date in the fall of 2024, but again, a vast majority has an expiration date of next month. According to Huddleston Casas, she says that when this money goes away, they're going to have to look at the teachers they've hired and say, I can't continue to pay you this much because I don't have this money coming in the door anymore. And those teachers will leave when centers lose teachers. They cannot serve as many children. And when centers cannot serve as many children, families lose access to childcare, which is a very, very slippery slope in all. For Lisette Christian, who's owner of Diane's Learning Center in South Omaha. She's quoted in this article saying, I try my best to provide her with a big of a wage as I can, but it leaves me kind of breaking even at the end of the day. I'm not getting rich off this. Again, talking about paying her staff members in a meaningful way. Of course, we always talk about the need for a livable wage in the area, but there's a catch 22. If the business themselves aren't really racking in a lot of dough, how can they stay afloat and covering the cost of doing business as well as paying employees? It's a very, very sticky situation.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm gonna jump right into the chat. There's some stuff being said already. Amy H. Dot said it would be great for the state to provide vouchers or grants to in-home small child care to help them compete and stay in business. Does this exist? This is definitely some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today with Miss Erika Felt, because there is funds that came from the Biden administration, and they need to be kind of revamped, redirected, and that's what this call to action is going to be about. I'll let Miss Erika Felt speak more on that when she comes on here soon. So stay tuned for that in just about 20 minutes or so. MEH says so they can offer a free or discounted spots at no cost to folks who can't afford it. T. Ren said they're just correlating corralling all into bottleneck of big money childcare centers, right? Same standard operation procedure across the board. And like I said, speaking to Miss Gwen Easter on this subject, and Miss Erika Felt, this is some of the things that is kind of the problem. They got these big centers, and they're the only ones that sounds like they're the only ones doing this study too. I wonder if the study leans towards their reasons for being here. Child care providers like Miss Gwen Easter said they're not getting approached. They're the experts in these situations with the smaller child care facilities out here that in our neighborhoods and have access to our neighborhoods and speaking to the people in our neighborhoods, and not considered experts on this subject. So they'll go outside and do a study, come back and say this is what's needed, and here we'll give it to you, and totally bypassing all the efforts that everybody else is doing. Amy H. Dot or Kimber Snipes in the chat. Good morning. She says, "I don't know why. I don't know, Amy, but I feel like this is a great space for corporate social responsibility. Why can't they work together to provide employees with support?"
Mm.
Right. You're this article that we're talking about. This first of all, Omaha World Herald wrote it. So for us, that's a little bit like, okay, we're gonna have to read between the lines on a couple things.
Yeah. The
Secondly,
full story ain't gonna be told.
the full story ain't gonna be told. No diss to the reporters over there, but that's how Omaha World Herald rolls. So it is what it is. Also, and this is exactly how it rolls. Is like this. They're looking at the Buffett report.
Let's just lay it out. Let's just lay it out. Who
let's-
has kept the Omaha World Herald afloat?
Yeah, well, a couple of times Warren Buffett saved it from going under. But the point I'm trying to make is that that a lot of times these reporters will go to what they consider the experts in the room are, and that's not anybody from our neighborhoods ever. Who they talk to?
Mm.
That's my point. Is they're going to these so-called experts, and the experts who have these childcare centers out here where you can go let your kids go for free, that are putting smaller childcare facilities out of business, are trying to act like there's no education happening in these smaller childcare facilities. There's misregulations. All these problems that, and not to mention they don't have enough hands. No money is going to these smaller childcare facilities to be able to help them subsidize and pay people and stuff like that. No help is going there. All the help is going to go into the centers that they put together. The Buffett Foundation and all these other places have all this philanthropy going on. They could be vouchers, like I was saying earlier. It could be vouchers and all kinds of stuff going to existing smaller childcare facilities, but that's not what's happening. They rather build their own facility, let everybody come for free, put all these other people out of business, and then justify that with some of this research that they're coming out with. Let me jump to the chat some more. Let's see. Kimber Snipe says the chamber needs to come up with something. Malik Rogers says, why is the pay so low for those working at daycare? Many part-time with little to no benefits. I can tell you one thing. If you're a mom and pop shop, you own a house, you got a child care facility going on, you're trying not to gouge the parents coming in. It costs a whole lot of money to take care of kids. Child care prices, I do know, just talking to Buddi about searching for some child care, how much literally people are making the decision to not have a job, stay home and take care of the kids, because it doesn't make any sense to work and give your whole check over to child care providers. And they ain't asking a whole lot of money. It just costs a lot of money to watch some kids. So how do you expand your business if you're not making a whole lot of money in the first place?
Man, and it's definitely a catch-22. Just as Paul mentioned, speaking from personal experience, while in Omaha, I was able to move around and do the work that I was doing because we had childcare. That was a relative who had an in-home situation that, to be honest, was mostly just watching the family children. You know what I mean? Cousins and aunts and everybody was dropping their children off to this house, and we all, made sure that she was paid and kept afloat, and she took care of the kids. That was a symbiotic relationship that worked. Those types of situations are in jeopardy. Now living here in Atlanta, I don't have, family to rely on. I don't have, as we always say, the hookup that you need to get anything done around here. So it dawned on me that I would have to get a second job just to pay for childcare.
What was the prices? You remember some
like 3,000? It was like 3,000 a month for 3 children, especially a newborn. Which, after having a child, after being out for maternal and paternal leave and trying to get back into work, it's difficult. It's very difficult, especially not having any family members. And to be honest, again, it's tragic, but looking at the situation of the Worthington family, you can't just trust everybody with your child. So you can't just, put them in any situation. So it's definitely a catch-22. And I want to make this last point as far as subsidies and state subsidies, and we talk about programs, but there is the cliff effect. We found ourselves in that gray area. We were making too much money to get assistance, but not enough to actually pay for what we needed. So a lot of families are finding themselves in that situation.
And again, you're saying it was 3,000 a month for 3 kids. It's 1,000 a month per kid. We're only talking about We're talking about $250 a week
Yep, per
for
child.
for you to watch somebody's child for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, so to me, I'm looking at the business model. I'm just thinking that's how can you go? I mean, how can you go lower than 250 a week for watching somebody's newborn 8 hours a day, 5 days a week? Like,
it's work.
it's work, and it's a tough business model. Trust me. Talking to Miss Erika Felt, talking to Miss Gwen Easter, talking to some other child care people I know, thinking about child care people I know in California that have small businesses too. They ain't in this to get rich. They in this
Man,
'cause they're trying to take care of the kids in our neighborhood, bro. Like,
that's I did the math. That's $6.25 an hour
come on, man. How you supposed
at
how you
250 a week.
that's all you're making. How can you, first of all, how can you live on that? Second of all, how can you have some extra help? Most of these places are. That's why it was a family owned business that it's just it's like it seems to be a very it seems to be one of them kind of situations that there should be some kind of solution, some kind of help somewhere, and not just let's just jump to these foundations building these massive child care centers that and we've talked about all the kind of stuff that happens in these child care centers too. It's tough, and if they're offering free child care, how is anybody who has a smaller shop going to compete with that? And so you're like, and then on top of that, what is it doing to our neighborhoods to have these centers in town in the area? I don't understand like how I just don't get it. Top of the morning to you, Black Dynamite. I appreciate you coming in. Wanda Lewis says, also a friend of mine's daughter owns the daycare. Sorrowful and regretful situation. This
Mm.
situation that's happened here in town is affecting not just the family who lost the child, but the family who owns the daycare. I mean, there's just so much to it. It's so tough. Amy H. says, right. Cost of living is skyrocketing. Wages don't match. The formulas to run a business and pay people well don't work. Low wages for corporate daycare too. Ms. Rickenfeld says, right, I offered a discounted rate to Buddi, but I knew that since he was here earning money, it wouldn't be feasible. Yeah, in not only we just talked about the math, but we also talked about that's a discounted rate most of the time. That's
Man,
what happens with smaller daycare centers in child care providers in our neighborhoods. They know us, and so they'll be trying to give us the cheapest rate possible because they see families struggling and all that too. So it's insane, man. And the fact that I mean, the first thing you think of is, okay, there's got to be some money, there's got to be some subsidy, there's got to be something that can come from the state, from the city, that can help you with the watching of your child, since they just demanding you got to have a job, you got to go to work.
right.
Can they help? Why is it charity foundations that's got to help? And the charity foundations that are helping, are they actually helping? Are they coming to the neighborhoods and finding out what's up? Are they relying on some studies from some outside sources?
Man, I mean, I say this all the time, and I do want to put it out that I'm not anti-government. I'm not anti-government. I don't believe that anarchy is going to get us anywhere. But the question is, what is the point of government? Like, what is the point? Like, what are y'all doing? What is the point? Like, really, where is this? It just kind of boggles the mind when you think about, okay, what is the point? Like, what are y'all actually doing? Streets are in shambles. We're paying for the sewer. Somebody in the chat is always talking about the sewer something project that taxpayers have to pay for. Like, I'm not saying government does anything, but when we start having these conversations, it's just like, what are y'all doing?
It's a good question. Very good question. Miss Erica Felt is let's see. Somebody said something. I'm lost. The chat's going off right now. Um, Let me jump back to what I was looking at, because this falls right in line with what you're talking about. What is the government doing? What here it is. Amy H. says should it be a shared responsibility? Business owners, government, families to share the cost. Wouldn't it be better for the state to have people employed, paying income tax versus not being offered to work? Good questions.
Yeah.
This brings up. I'd like to talk to Miss Tapio about. I think she provides child care for her workers there. So we've talked about that before too. Corporate owns child care. Should they be housing us? Should they be should they be paying for our child care? A lot of times they'll take care of child care, but it be in their facilities, not so much you being able to just get a voucher and go where you want to go. Von Chapman says the good morning to Von Chapman. He says the obvious aim of the Buffetts is to totally monopolize the local childcare industry. Given their various so-called affordable home projects, this allows them to offer free childcare for local. I think that was the end of the thought there. Yeah, this is what we're talking about, the free childcare. We hear this all the time from childcare providers, smaller childcare providers all the time. That how you gonna compete with free? So what are you gonna do?
Right.
I mean, to me, it's a charity operation, so they could very easily just maybe grant that money to existing childcare facilities. But it don't seem like they trust existing childcare facilities. It seems like they feel like they have a better a grasp on educating our kids, on watching, on all the things. They very rarely will reach out to anybody. Miss Erika Felt said they reached Omaha World Herald reached out to her, but it was only to big up the Buffett operation.
There
So
you
like
go.
I was saying earlier, who's reaching out?
Right.
Kimmer
I
said,
mean,
mhm.
I'm just gonna say you can't rely on. That was my whole point about who has saved the Omaha World Herald. You can't rely on the Omaha World Herald to, even try to shine a negative light or any kind of, you know,
I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. They actually, what I'm understanding from the reporters and from the people that I talk to that work over there, they don't say much about Warren Buffett because they don't there's some beef going there with the fact that he bailed them out at one point and so on. So I'm not saying that much, but for the most part, Omaha World Herald is relying on who they think the experts are. To me, the point is they have not talked to many people in our neighborhoods and considered them experts on this subject in order to even talk about what it is that we do need in our neighborhoods. That's what
hmm
I'm getting at as far as the reporting is concerned. But as far as the Buffett study is concerned, is it serving their goal of these childcare facilities is the question to me. And
come on
and
now.
then the last thing I want to leave this with is like, is anybody trying to help small business, smaller childcare facilities? Is anybody helping them to hire extra people to do anything? These are all the questions that I got for this. Cameron Snipes says, I don't know, but hopefully some decision makers are having this convo. When we have Miss Erika Felt on a little later on, she's talking about some things that we can actually do. Boost to the roots.
hmm
She's a call to action she has. We'll talk about it. Malik Rogers says, unfortunately, the consequences of Black Omaha opening the gates to nonprofits with no accountability.
Mm.
MEH Dot says the state relies too much on charitable foundations to fill the gaps that exist.
Yep.
Brother Knight says protecting the interests of the well-heeled. There you go. Malik Rogers says all money ain't good money. Wanda Lewis says they are not volunteers. She's talking to somebody else there. Kimmer Snipe says, Malik, let's talk about why that happens too, because government has gaps that have to be filled in. Right. That's why these charitable foundations sometimes come and fill them in. But again, where are they getting the info from? Brother Knight says that's what government is doing. It's a Western thing. Sean McCarthy in the chat. Good morning. He says when it's dangerously hot outside, redundancies are so critical. Child monitoring should not be the job of a single person, especially during extreme weather. We were kind of weaving in and out. We talked a little earlier about the tragic death that happened this Monday. And we kind of were weaving in and out with this story. But Miss Wanda Lewis was also giving us some information a little earlier about the family, about what was going on there. She said she was talking about the owner of the mother of the daughter, that her mother passed away during heart surgery. She was in her 50s. She just lost her mother, now just lost her daughter. So you just want to acknowledge some of the things that Miss Wanda Lewis was saying there about the situation there, and just encourage. She said the mother of the baby is 28 years old, and her mother passed away 5 years ago. She has limited support while trying to work a job. She had a total of 6 children.
Man.
Again, I'm gonna put the GoFundMe in the chat just so that we can keep updated with that. Make sure that we remind everybody, here on season 6, Boost to the Roots. This is how we can put some boost to the roots on this. Is really help the family out, even if it's $1. However much you can give, this will help the family. As you can see, there's people that know these people directly. We're connected. Chat chimers are connected, even in family, with the people that lost the daycare center, and know the people that lost the little girl this Monday. So again, this hits close to home, and if we don't do anything about it, then we're not doing nothing. So let's all try to chip in and help and do what we can. The link is in the chat for the GoFundMe once again. But this is the reason why we're fired up and talking about all these things, man. Unfortunately, maybe if this daycare center had more help from the city or from anywhere. Buffett Foundation, were they getting grants? I mean, who knows how they were even, how does that model work? How does it work? It's a need. This is a need. There's no doubt about it. The child care is a need. Early childhood education is a need.
Yeah,
It's something that we have to have. How do our neighborhoods get it when we don't have the resources that other neighborhoods have for it?
man. And again, we'll definitely looking forward to the conversation with Miss Erika Felt. But as Miss Wanda Lewis said, as far as this being a solution for workforce development, like this is kind of a linchpin, if you will, in the whole workforce situation. And just imagine this young lady who is now, relies on daycare to be able to provide for her, 6 or so children. And now I can't imagine, her being able to really focus on work with their children in daycare, after this situation. I can't imagine, going back to work being an easy situation for her. And just in general, again, going back to my situation and not being able to afford childcare. Like my daughters are here right now. Luckily, my son is in public school. But I can't just go out and find a regular job. I'm blessed to be able to do this and DJ and do a couple other things, but if all else fails and I gotta go out and get a 9 to 5, I'm stuck. You know what I mean? I'm in a situation. So as far as workforce development, this can easily be a solution to that. First of all, getting people jobs in these care centers, and then hopefully people who have to take care of their children at home can find jobs.
Let's take a quick break and talk about that when we come back. Thanks for everybody who's joined into the chat on this conversation. Again, a very, very in-depth conversation that we're having here. We appreciate everybody's input, and this is something that's really going to fire us up. Stay tuned. Miss Erika Felt, chat chimer, and early childhood provider is going to come on and talk about what can be done, call to action, what it is that we can do about some of this stuff. She'll be on here in just a few, so stay tuned. We'll take a quick break and come back and jump into maybe some of this workforce solution talk. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Stay tuned. Be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers really going in on this subject. Appreciate everybody that has something to say about it. It is 8 o'clock now. If you believe in the concept of time, you're now in the second hour of First Sky Omaha in the morning. And we do have a special guest coming up here pretty soon, so stay tuned for her. Y'all know her, Miss Erika Felt, chat chimer. She is more importantly, a early childhood provider, has a lot to say on these subjects. It is turned out to be a resource for other people who have early daycare centers and things like that, man, just because she's leaning into the advocacy of all these things and just trying to get some help for some of these small businesses out here, including her own. For those of you that know her, you know her story. So she's already gone through a lot, just the struggle of just existing in the first place, and then trying to make sure that the business stays afloat. And it's always it's up in the air. We probably can put a call out right now for if you got any kids that if you know anybody that needs some childcare services, send them her way. She probably has some more spaces for them right now to keep her business afloat. So again, we'll talk to her about that when she comes on pretty soon. But I love the fact that this whole conversation has moved us towards this other idea. If Pillen is getting ready to put a whole bunch of money in workforce development, we should talk about where some of that should get directed. Obviously, it needs to get directed to teachers and OPS, early childhood centers, and so on and so forth. Something needs to be directed towards the children, and so it'll be interesting to see what he is directing these funds to. So, anyway, without further ado on that, would you like to jump into that story, buddy?
Yeah, this also reported from the Omaha World Herald. Coming out of Lincoln now, Governor Pillen apparently, as Paul mentioned, has a plan to address a widespread workforce shortage, which actually Nebraska is on the bottom of the totem pole nationally, if you will. Again, according to the article, Governor Jim Pillen has set up what he's calling a working group of businesses, education, and state leaders to examine ways to address the state's workforce shortage. In a statement last week, Governor Pillen said our unemployment rate remains among the lowest in the nation, creating a unique challenge for attracting great people to our state. No industry is exempt from current shortages. We need to resolve this problem if we are going to continue growing Nebraska. Pillen will lead the group. Participants from state government agencies will include the new DED director, Casey Billets, also Senator Kathleen Koth of Omaha, Senator Luann Linehan of Omaha, and also Senator Tom Brees of Albion, along with policy research officer and state budget office representatives will be on this working group. The group will also have representatives from Bryant Health, Builder Trend, Chief Industries, Concordia University, First National Bank of Omaha, Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, Lincoln Public Schools, Metropolitan Community College, Mutual of Omaha, a Nebraska Community College Association, a Nebraska State Chamber of Commerce, Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce, Physicians Mutual, and Nebraska State College System. Also, UP will be a part of this group as well. Apparently, the group will be tasked for the next 4 months with discussing possible legislative and regulatory remedies. If they recommend legislation, it will be introduced on behalf of the governor next year. And again, as we are seeing in this group, no really early child care providers or no early childhood, daycare situations being represented in this group at all, from what I'm seeing.
I mean, the charity organizations are taking care of our child care, so why would they need to do anything about helping out?
There you go.
Wanda Lewis reminds us the shortage includes OPS teachers and bus drivers as well.
Yep.
OPS,
which is, yeah. To that note, OPS is not in this group either.
Right.
Just LPS, Lincoln Public Schools. But again, the largest school district in the state with the most quote unquote minorities, about 60-70% minority, again, not present at the table.
80%.
Right. Which was the case during the last education conversation.
Now, remember, we do know something too, because the fact that we talked to the senators and we've been looking closely at this budget. There is a huge OPS budget, and where we left off talking about that was they may need some help directing those funds within the budget they already have. They're not asking for any more money, even though the senators have gotten them more money. So they may not need outside help in order to do the things they need to do, which is hire more teachers, more bus drivers, and so on and so forth. They just may not be doing it. Don't know. But it is interesting that they're not even mentioned in this group at all, especially where Lincoln Public Schools are. I don't know. Do they not see that help is needed? And like you mentioned, no child care facilities. Like I said, if the Buffetts are doing child centers, and to solve this problem of early childhood development, then why would why would the governor think that we need to do something, or the chamber, anybody think we need to do something to help these situations out? Maybe there's not enough. We're not making enough noise. Which is the reason why, if you talk to Miss Gwen Easter, you can be standing there talking to her for a minute on this. And the reason I figured it out why the last time I talked to her last Saturday is because this situation is so multifaceted. You can't just have one conversation about it and one aspect of it. There's 15 things going on at the same time that are let's make it for this situation to be what it is. So you can go down the rabbit hole with it. Von Chapman in the chat says, if you remember, Omar Valentine had a program that offered workforce development in North Omaha. His program was all but forced out. Why do you suppose that happened?
Man, we had to talk to Brother Valentine. Haven't seen him in the chat in a while. Yeah, definitely love to get insight on that. And also, in regards to following the money, Wanda Lewis is in the chat earlier saying early childhood development is hoarding the funding from the feds. That's how they're offering free child care. This was done through a bidding process. Did any of our child care providers hear about this bidding process?
To Malik Rogers' point, no Black Omaha representation. You would think someone from Empowerment Network, OPS, would have been on committee.
Nope.
Sean McCarthy said government absolutely needs to have a role in this because the private sector doesn't seem to be able to bridge the gap between low-paying jobs and unaffordable child care to working families. Like Buddy says, what is the government for?
What is their real job?
Who's doing anything about it?
Well, from looking at this working group, none of these people, I don't expect, this to be brought up from this group.
No, I don't expect it would. And from everything that we've been talking about, like I said, I'm only aware right now of the Buffett Centers. Charity doing this, trying to pick up the slack. Kimber Snipe says that was the WIOA funding. I worked with that. Some funding, I was fired. She says same funding. I was fired, but not by HWS. ResCare had the contract. I believe National Able had it when Omar Valentine was doing it. So we're talking about some of those things. Yeah, we tried to work with Brother Valentine to get some help around here with First Sky stuff, and it was a difficult task. First of all, we had to go find the young folks to put in the program. But he did a good job. He had a nice program going. We was really trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that it got shut down. I didn't realize that it got shut down. He was forced out. He said his program was all but forced out, is what Brother Chapman said. So yeah, it's one reason we haven't. What are you gonna do? What can you do? You could sit here and think of ideas like that, like maybe some of those workforce development brothers could be over there helping with the child care, centers, smaller child care centers that can't really afford employees. But it seems crazier than that to me. It seems crazy. It seems like this is one of those things that makes society seem crazy to me. Why would you not put maximum money in taking care of your kids? Why would you be in a city and people have to question and figure out, and charity got to come in and save taking care of the babies? I don't get it.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. My mind is just starting to go down the conspiracy route. Like, okay, they're making it harder on low income families, and they're building new prisons, and they know that these prisons are going to be filled, and that they know lack of income produces more criminals. Like the math is definitely mathing if you think about it in that way. Otherwise, if you try to make sense of it, the math ain't mathing.
Give us some. What say you in the chat? I'd like to hear from everybody. Even if you don't have, even if you have grown children, what did you do back in the day? I'd like to hear what was your solution for childcare? Those of us that had kids, that have them now, that had them back in the day, that are watching our sons and daughters with their kids, our grandkids. What is everybody doing? If you can jot a little sentence down and let us know like what your personal solution is, I'd love to hear what's going on there. Feels a little weird. I'm very happy that Miss Erika Felt is coming on here to to give us some points, some focus on this issue, some focus and some action items. Von Chapman said it's not crazy, Paul. It's intentional. If this is intentional, if these child care centers and stuff are popping up, not only just to put smaller child care facilities out of business, but also to start indoctrinating the kids, preschool to prison pipeline. Like where's the early child care centers fall in with that pipeline? Seems crazy. Is there another state or country who does childcare right? Good question. Thank you for bringing that solutions journalism idea back to my brain. I would love to go find out who's doing childcare right and where, especially in this country. I'm sure there's places, there's other countries that got something else going on, but I'd like to see how other states are doing this. If anybody has any insights on that, other cities, other states, love to know. Brother Knight said, I waited till I could afford it.
Yeah.
The price is kind of jumping around a little bit here these days, though. As soon as you think you can afford something, something else is up. So, and that's also kind of not how it really works all the time either. People be having kids before they planned on having them. It's just is what it is. Also, we can be talking about just work in general, man. We could just talk about capitalism in general, how you got to have two family, both. If you married, then you and your wife are going to work. Somebody gonna be watching your kids. If you are doing, even if you're doing all right,
man,
you're doing okay. So tough one to really. I appreciate your comment though. He's the first one that came in. He's like, "Well, you can afford it. When you can afford it, then what'd you have to do? Pay for child care? How much was child care when you had to pay for it?"
Yeah, I'm thinking of Kanye West, his bar about Planned Parenthood, but nobody planned to be a parent in the hood.
That was a bar there,
man.
He said, Brother Knight said, that's how it always works if cause and effect is understood. Yeah. True that. But again, waited till you can afford it meant what? What kind of, you know what I'm saying? Who can afford that? Who can afford an extra $3,000? And if you got 3 kids, who can afford an extra $3,000? What kind of money you got to be making to make an extra $3,000 just to give to the child care?
Like I said, I would have needed to get a job just to be with the kids or just to have, somewhere for the children to have a daycare. And if that's the case, I might as well just stay home with them.
What I'm kind of getting at this question too is I'm ready to see all these hookups because that's what everybody has. Everybody got a hookup. Brother Knight waited until he could afford it. Marianne Williams says, my children were spaced out at least 5 years apart, not planned that way, but it was a blessing not to have more than one child in daycare or college at the same time.
Man.
Von Chapman says, Buffettville is well thought out plan to control every aspect of Black life in North Omaha.
There you go. I mean, I'm kind of going along the lines of what Mr. Knight is saying as far as waiting till you could afford it. That just kind of makes me go back to what we're always talking about as far as family assistance. Like, where can you go for family planning? Where can you go for just life planning? Like, yeah, it would be nice to have those resources and have a community set up where there were places. Oh, you're looking to start a family. Here's these maternity and paternity resources. Here's these resources. Here's these resources. But no.
Uh-oh, buddy locked up.
I'm frozen?
Yeah, you're unfrozen now.
Oh, well, I don't know where I left off, but yeah, just it would be nice to be able to have a place to go or a system set up in the community where, people who are looking to start a family, looking to start a business, looking to advance in life had the help and didn't have to figure it out by themselves. So, yeah.
It's kind of interesting that place is called Planned Parenthood, but it's really all about I associate it with abortion more than any other kind of planning. Um, but that's a good question. It's just like we talk about all the time. The stuff that schools don't teach you is how to have relationships and how to deal with your money and all the things you're gonna need. This not taught in school. But again, there's we can go down the rabbit hole on why all that stuff happens like it does too. But man, it's a good question. Wanda Lewis says early childhood development has well-paid staffers who are there for analyzation of the children's behavior. Inform you if they think your child needs to be on meds. Children are often labeled early. I'm glad you
Man,
glad you brought it up because I was thinking this earlier. I was thinking this earlier. Um, we've talked about this before about child care facilities and beds, these child prisons that we've been talking about, all these things that we've been talking about, where medication is going to be involved with, they're going to be on there diagnosing that type of thing. It's kind of is we got to bring that up too. Von Chapman says, "How about asking Susie Buffett to come on the program, talk about her involvement, investment in the community?" Yeah, I'm down for that.
yeah.
Kimber Stewart says, "My son is 23. His dad was in the feds. First 7 years. I had Title 20. Thank the Lord. Cliff effect got me though, and it was 125 a week, which is nothing now. School to prison pipeline is scary." Wanda
Yep.
Lewis says, "Yeah." Uh, Lots to it, man. But I'll tell you what, we're gonna talk to somebody who I consider an expert in the field. She's waiting in the wings right now. We're gonna bring her on. This might be one of the first times like we brought a chat chimer on. Is this the first chat chimer on the show?
Um, I don't know if it's the first, but we don't do it often.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do it now, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Erika Felt in the house.
Ooh, before coffee
Hey,
too.
Hey.
hey, welcome,
Hi.
welcome.
Hi. You'll see me like look around. I got everybody set up with pancakes and bananas and pears,
She child
Okay,
care
and
providing right now.
hopefully we can talk.
still working, still working.
We'll see.
Um,
Well,
So
we really appreciate you coming on the show. I know, especially during your actual job that you actually watching
yeah,
kids right this minute.
and they're chatty, so I'm warning you now.
Okay,
They want to tell me about everything. I'm like, okay, can you just a
you
minute?
tell them to be quiet for Paul B. Come over and take his belt off.
Look, you know what? No, we won't. No, we won't. Thank you. Nah.
First of all,
This little girl looked bent over and looked over.
he's like, he gonna do what?
I don't think they
nah.
can hear you, but they're like, why is she talking to the iPad? I was going to set you guys up down in the play school, but Boogie brought to my attention. He said, the internet works when it wants to down there. So
Thank
that's
you,
why
Boogie.
we're in the kitchen.
I'm glad you got a tech in your house. Um, Let me ask you first of all before we get into it. How are you? Just how are you doing? Everybody,
Yeah,
we all
yeah.
know who you are, what you've been
I
going
still
through.
don't have my hair. Like, I'm used to some hang time and, I
It's
want to
coming. It's
flip
coming in
it,
nice though.
you
Yeah,
know?
you look good. You look good.
Thank you. But I like doing a little, passive aggressive hair flip every now and
Yeah.
then. But thank you. I'm feeling so much better every day. Like,
Good.
honestly. And my weight, thank goodness, is starting to drop. I weighed myself this morning and I'm feeling kind of good about that. Still
Okay.
working on it, but and I'm not doing any diet type stuff. I'm just it just happens to be falling off
Okay.
because I'm having more energy, and I live in a split level, and they make me go up and down the stairs all day.
Hey, I
Getting the
hear that.
exercise.
Right.
Well,
So
again, we really thank you for coming on, and we know you got limited time here since you got the littles there with you, so we'll definitely jump into what's going on. But I kind of wanted to get back to the statement that you put out because that's where I was trying to start at, if I can find it
bring
again.
on milk, baby.
As far as the
Drink
call
your
to
milk or
action.
your water. You gotta
You
drink
call
one
to
of the
action,
two.
yeah, you got that?
Yeah, I haven't. I haven't.
Yeah. So what's going on is, and it's I don't want to give too much backstory and bore people, but here's the thing: funding for childcare subsidy and Head Start, which is in the schools, and one other thing because I haven't had my coffee just yet. I made it though. I can't remember the other one, but those are two major things that it funds across the country. The Child Care Development Block Grant feeds dictates that funding source.
Hmm.
Back in 2013, it came here to Nebraska. We've still been in default. It took our state years to finally get fingerprinting when the feds long ago said we were supposed to be fingerprinted. Now, currently, we still are in default because we are supposed to be paid in the manner that our private parents pay us. And the majority of those in Nebraska, and majority of providers and centers, everybody gets paid in advance, regardless of attendance, because we have to know what our income is so that we can budget, whether we have employees or not. But if you have employees, especially, because you can't take on. I've had 3 opportunities to open a center. 3 times the math, I couldn't guarantee somebody else's, actual pay. I could have paid the minimum wage, but what I know from my time as a director at a large center and having to sign off, oh, honey, did you just stab me with a fork? Girl, she didn't mean to. She meant to get her napkin and stab me with a fork. Hey, we're good. Okay. Childcare. So, when I was a center director, I would have staff that would come and I had to verify that they made so little that yes, they qualified for Section 8. Yes, they qualified for SNAP. At that time, it was still food stamps. And I know those persons honestly, because one of them was amazing. One of them still is in the field, and she's just magical. And I really hope somebody pays her worth. But the rest of the ladies, quite frankly, I was lucky to get people off of Craigslist, and they would come in there looking high, and I'd have to throw them out before the interview started because it's such a low amount being offered to pay. You get what you pay for, oftentimes. Now, that, like I said, there are some amazing staff at centers that aren't getting paid what they deserve. But at the end of the month, it's human nature to be stressed. If you're worried about, okay, I just ran out of stamps. Okay, wait a minute. Did they get my interim at Section 8? Is my rent going to go up this month? They haven't sent me the notice. Maybe I'm good, right? Like, we don't need people who are stressed taking care of our children. So back to the point, we're still not getting paid correctly. Nebraska thought they'd be slick by going ahead and putting out July 1st a new pay scale for subsidized providers. And yes, it is better, but no, it's not paying us in advance. It is not dependable. It's still being paid by the day, which is better than it was prior to July 1st when we had to bill by the 15-minute increment. That is why centers in homes, that's why we could not provide staff, could not have spots open because we didn't know if we could staff them. Because if you're billing in 15-minute increments and little Timmy gets sick or little Timmy's mama gets sick so she doesn't bring them, we didn't get any pay, right? And we're still in that spot now. So what I want everybody to sign, it not only assists with that, it forces Nebraska's hand. It gives them 90 days to get in compliance. Otherwise, the feds say, and let me finish this because some people be like,
like that.
What's that, baby? Is it that good? She's excited about pears. She's holding up a pear on the fork. It's good. I know. I don't like them, but I'm glad that you do. We all like different things. Anyhow, sorry. So what I need is with the proposals, it gives them 90 days. I'm sorry, got a little distracted there. So it gives them 90 days for Nebraska to get their act together and 2 other states that are also in default. But it's for the whole country, but it really applies to us. If in 90 days, Nebraska does not get their act together and pay us accordingly, then what will happen is that, I'm sorry, they're talking to a cat. What will happen is they will pull their funding. That's the threat, because there has to be a consequence, right? So the threat is if Nebraska doesn't get it together in 90 days, then they will pull the funding. That's from early Head Start, all subsidized child care program, right? Nebraska's not going to let that happen. But what they are poised to do, the rumor is, yes, you can be excused. Thank you for asking. Can I get the stickies off your hands first? Okay, let me get the stickies off your hands. Sorry. So what that means is Nebraska's not going to let that happen. But the rumor is that Nebraska is poised to petition to ask for 5 years in order to get it together. Oh, they've already had more than 5 years and haven't gotten it together. So what I'm asking today, and a lot of child care providers, every child care provider I know, is asking today, yes, you may be excused. Can I see if your hands are sticky, please? Come here. Is that you go ahead and click this link and leave a comment. I need both hands so I can see if they're sticky, sir. They're not. Oh, and your face is clean too. You're very good with your napkin. Go throw this on the garbage, and then you can go ahead and join her over there. Okay. Sorry. Leave your plate on the table. I'm gonna handle that. So this will make sure that Congress knows, yes, we want these revisions. We need these revisions. Another part, now that just speaks to directly what child care providers need. I know, baby. Hold on. Drink some milk or some water. You gotta drink one of the two. Is that I'm sorry, I apologize. It's tricky when you have a whole bunch of kids at the same time. But signing this will let Congress know that, yes, we need that. The thing is, this is not just about subsidized child care and how it benefits providers. So it also states that nobody should pay more than 7% of their income for child care. That's big. Some people have misunderstood and thought that it will say that it states that all families will pay 7%. No, you cannot pay more than 7%. So there are people who are not going to pay at all because they don't make enough, right? We get that. I was a Title 20 mom before I started being a child care provider. My 26-year-old was 4 years old when I started doing child care. And at that time, I was a Title 20 mom, and we ran through child cares, partially because he was little and got sick, partially because to this day, we are paid less. Child care providers are paid less for Title 20 children in most parts of the city than private pay pays. So my child is constantly being treated like a wet food stamp. And so I got tired of it, and I did some homework and decided I was going to become a provider for Title 20 children. I'm going to go out of the screen, but I'm still going to talk because this little girl's letting me know she is done. So I have to let her join her friends. I apologize. So what it also does, so it does a 7% cap. It also makes sure that we are paid in accordance. How that works for people who don't even have children, it's important for everybody, because if the employee at your favorite business can't get child care, they can't work there, your favorite business goes out of business. If you're done too, let me see your sticky fingers. So this is why it benefits everybody. The economy for Nebraska will improve because when child care providers are paid consistently and can budget accordingly, they can open up more spots. While we're talking about we have a child care shortage, we have a child care shortage because Nebraska made that shortage.
How so? How did Nebraska make that shortage?
By not following the child care development block grant regulations, by being in default all this time. If we had been being paid in the manner we were supposed to, which is regardless of attendance and in advance, then you know what your income is, so you can make your budget for your expenses, including staff. You can't hire staff if you don't know you can pay them. There's no way.
And they're asking for another 5 years to get all that straightened out.
Well, that's the rumor. That's the rumor that they are, and I, quite frankly, I believe it, but I'm not going to say it's a fact because I don't know it's a fact. But that is the rumor, and given the history, yeah, I can see it.
So this link that we put in, this call to action that you have here, this is let's reiterate what that is again. I'm putting it in the chat one more time.
Okay, so when you click on that, it's going to take you to a screen where you can also read what I'm talking about. So you know I'm not just pulling ideas out of the air wanting you to sign something. It's all there. And then you also click on comment. And when you click on comment, it does not have to be eloquent and does not need to be a soliloquy. It can just simply, if you don't feel like you have time or understanding, or maybe typing in is not your thing. If you even just type, this needs to pass for our children, or this needs to pass for our businesses, or this needs to pass for our economy, whatever, however it pulls at you, because it affects so much. When we don't have childcare, people can't work. Is the bottom line. We were the essential workers because doctors couldn't go to work with nobody watching their children. Police can't go to work without somebody watching their children. I know, I've had them in my care. CPS workers, I got a CPS worker now as a client. They can't work if they don't have childcare. And the thing is, it's very important, not just specific kinds of childcare. Nebraskans deserve choice. In 2019, Buffett came out with a study that showed 64% of Nebraska children that were birth to 12 years old in childcare that wasn't family were in family childcare, which is what I am, what they used to call us. It was family childcare, as opposed to centers. So if you don't take care of 64% of the children in the state go to in-home childcare, if you don't ensure that we are viable, because you're ensuring that we have inflation, you're ensuring that we don't have access to a variety of things that we should, because the money is not going to providers, it's going to larger nonprofits that are then dictating how we get it, because they're getting the context. And notice I said larger nonprofits. There are smaller nonprofits. Nonprofits aren't the devil as far as I'm concerned. My mother was one, and that's why I will never. But because I've been approached and asked to turn my program into a nonprofit because of how I want to scale it. And we've talked about that before, Paul, about what I would like to do to help other people get off Section 8. Because I started on Section 8 and worked my way off and bought a home doing childcare. And I think that it's a model that is important.
Definitely.
But aside from that, we don't have the funds we need because nonprofits are getting them. Right. And then deciding how we should get them.
And it seems like they're deciding to build their own facilities now.
Well, currently, and I think that it's a blurred line. And I did some homework a couple of weeks ago because I never want to talk out the side of my neck, right? So Buffett themselves are not opening child cares. Okay. NECC is not opening a child care. Okay. However, they do get funds that are supposed to go to us according to the block grant. They're supposed to go to us, but then they decide how we get them. Like currently, in order for me to get $1,000 to spend on things for my program, and I'm probably about to cross myself out of it, but it is what it is. We had to sign up with a communication app that I have to drop because they have double billed my families, and luckily it was a family that was financially solvent, because it could have caused a terrible snowball of overdraft fees. In order to get the $1,000 to buy what I would need to buy for my office, because that was my plan to use it for my office, because finally, like, I drag a dining room chair into my office because I always spend my money on the children. So I was going to use it for my office. They said I had to use this app. You have to do their things so that they can prove, because in order to get funding, you have to prove that it was effective, right? And so they use us to prove it was effective. But yeah, for example, I have a $4,000 air purifier sitting 20 feet away from me. Okay, that the state realized they had to spend PPE funds. So oops, let's hurry up and do it. They have sent me Kleenex from Office Max, which is like almost $5 a little box, because they have to spend up the money. They could have gave me $500. I would have went to Target. I would have got a $400, really top of the line air purifier, bought myself some generic Kleenex, and called it a day. Instead, they spent $4,000 on one air purifier, plus all the filters for it and a whole bunch of other stuff.
So let me ask you this. Beyond the nonprofits, at the state level, who's regulating this? Is this Department of Health and Human Services? Like who's over all of this?
Department of Health and Human Services, and quite frankly, NDE is inserted themselves the last, it's been about a decade now. Since 2013, they've inserted themselves.
So it's interesting to me what you're saying about the fact that they won't just give you the money. They won't just give healthcare providers the money to spend it how you need to spend it. You got to jump through all these hoops to get the money from them for them to spend it like they think, and they're doing messed up stuff like, oh, we better hurry up and spend it. Let's buy all this overpriced stuff. So they're blatantly not acting right with the money that they could have just been giving you the childcare provider, right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's also, and it all stems back to the reason why you've only the last few years, it took a pandemic for people to see our worth. If you recall, Caillou stood on a national TV and said the second day he did a speech, because he used to do his daily COVID speeches, the second day he said, Oh, and if you know somebody and you know that they usually take care of children in their home, ask them if they want to go pick up your groceries. Give them $5 or $10. I wish somebody would have asked me, did I want to go
What?
pick up their groceries?
What?
Um, there's the reason is we are seen as women's work, and we are in a
Mm.
patriarchal society. Let's be real,
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay? Childcare has not been valued because women do that anyway. You don't do that anyway. No, I'm not. I owned a nail shop in San Francisco. Don't play with me. But
Mm.
and that's not, but as I got older, it did become my passion, but I still need to, just because it's my passion does not mean that my own children don't deserve to have some kind of future. They should not live their lives on SNAP because I want to, I want to help take care of the next future politicians and paleontologists.
Let let me
Right.
let me
And
let me let me jump in here real quick just to reiterate that point, because earlier I was saying this feels crazy.
Yep.
Von Chapman got on in the chat and he was like, this is on purpose. You just hit the nail on the head of why this feels so out of control crazy to me. It really has to do with the fact that it has to do with why what my question, the crazy part is, why wouldn't you pay as much money? Why wouldn't you take care of your kids in the state? Why does it seem like they are doing everything they can do to not help childcare providers do what they got to do? And you just said it. We live in this patriarchal situation. They look at this thing as women's work, so they don't look at it as legitimate business in the first place, and that just cleared it all up for me. It
well,
just
here's the
cleared it
thing.
all up.
So there are these business training classes and so forth, and quite frankly, the one that we're required to take, there's one that's being offered by NECC and the AOK Foundation. I'll give credit to that one, actually is good. But the one we're required to take, getting down to business, I was required to sit through this thing. And like I said, I am a business owner. I pay my taxes I'm a small business owner. I pay more taxes than the average bear. And y'all know that from being self-employed. Okay. We pay more than the average bear.
Mm-hmm.
And so, oh honey, not with my blinds. No, thank you. Come on. Thank you. Good listening. Keep going. Because I see you looking back. That's not what we're gonna do. Thank you. Sorry about that. So the what I was gonna say, the business training, like it was really so rudimentary and quite frankly not helpful.
Mm.
But it was very condescending,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, now don't forget, you might want to set up a retirement account. Well, no, stuff. But with what funds? How are we gonna do this?
Mm. Mm.
Okay. Like it was so disconnected. And quite frankly, like always until the pandemic hit, and it was like, ooh, all those silly women actually help us work. Then the shift went to, oh, but we need to make sure they're educating the children as if we have not been all this time.
Right.
I offered preschool in my home before it was trendy, way back in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
I did Sunshine Express curriculum. So it's I believe that brass deserve choice. There's different styles of in-home, just like there's different styles of centers, and they all should have that choice
Yeah,
because different children thrive in different environments.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
can't
You
help
know,
but think this is also connected to this war on education that's going on now too. They don't want,
Mm.
and they want to make sure that if you're teaching these kids their early development, you're teaching them the stuff they want to be taught.
They
They
want.
no,
want
thank
they want
you.
to teach.
It looks cool. I can see that.
Also, I want to
Yeah.
jump into the chat real quick. Wanda Lewis, a little earlier, first of all, saying all praises for the work you do. It requires a lot of patience. Number one.
Thank you.
Number two, she says, so they insert themselves into the business of smaller childcare centers. And this is the thing that we're talking about the most,
Mhm.
as far as that's concerned, when I'm talking to childcare providers from our neighborhoods. Is it's not just that they're not helping; they're also trying to insert themselves in your business. They're making you jump through hoops, making you jump
Man.
through all kinds of stuff, man, for these reasons. And then along with what Von Chapman is talking about just look at all the number of child care centers that are popping up. That we were saying earlier, the Buffetts had child care centers, but you're saying they do not, but they have been helping fund some of these child care centers that are popping up that you can go send your kids to for free. You're systematically kind of taking away the small business. At the same time, they're trying to control the education. At the same time, they're trying to make paternal. They're using paternalism.
Man,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? And then on
Well,
top of
instead of
everything else,
reaching up,
and on top of everything else, they look at this thing as not a real profession.
hmm
On top of because it's
um,
mostly women who do it. I'm
what
sorry.
has
Go ahead.
happened also is instead of reaching up by making college more accessible, by even just making sure our kindergarten through 12th is sufficient, um, they want to reach down. We always talk about don't punch down, punch up, right? No, they're punching down and snatching our children into this public school system that is already a mess. We
Hmm.
don't need public pre-K. We do need public childcare, and many childcares offer preschool curriculum. That's for parents to find and to get, because this public situation, all you're doing is pulling kids into something. So we're all going to sit up here and complain like we do about the K through 12. But then it'll be we're all complaining for pre-K through 12. You know,
Mm.
reach up. Let our kids go to college or to trade school, right?
Hello.
Don't punch down. Don't snatch up my kids, because see, my kids who grew up in my program, Boogie is on half days now on his senior year, and is a intern IT help desk specialist for Warren Industries, and he's on my child care license. You know, my other child graduated high school from North with a sophomore amount of credits at UNO. So clearly, I'm doing something okay here,
Mhm.
Right.
right? I have children that come back to me. I have a gentleman, he lives in Indiana, and he comes and he sees me about once a year, and he brings me his children to say hi, you know, and he is about to be 27,
Yeah.
you know.
Man.
So, and he, you know, he's living his best life. All these people, there's one young man he went to, we all came up in the same Section 8. We used to call them projects, but it wasn't, it was housing. But he went on and he got his bachelor in criminology at UNO. And that was one of my babies. Like, clearly, let's punch up. Let these kids, if more of them would have went to college if it was accessible,
Right.
Mm.
I
you
like this
know.
punch up idea. Once we're gonna let you go here in a minute. I know everybody's coming. They coming on your multitasking skills. I'm like, my head is spinning just watching you. But
I won't lie, I got Doggy Land on the TV. I usually only do Spotify, but this time there's a video, and they're like, "Oh, there's pictures to it." So,
okay.
Hey.
Before we let you go though, just want you to reiterate this call to action. Tell us
Mhm.
again. Uh,
please click the link and leave a comment. You can. It's great if you can testify with how funded childcare benefits you. If you've utilized it, if you know somebody who utilizes it, if your employees utilize it, right? Or Head Start, because that is subsidized child care. That is what Head Start is, the same fund. And I hope you can hear me, because they're having a lot of fun.
yeah, we starting not to be able to hear you too well. So let me
Guys,
just.
I need
Uh-huh.
inside voices, and balls go on the floor.
So again, you're
Thank
saying
you.
when this
I
this link.
need you to comment about how subsidized child care affects you. And if you don't want to go that deep, you can just say, yes, this needs to pass. It doesn't take any of your time to click and say, yes, this needs to pass. That's 5 words.
Got it. Okay, we gonna send everybody off on that plan of action there, and see if we can't get some help, and we'll follow up with you.
Thank you.
We'll follow up with you another time to find out if anything is changing on this. I'm sure you're gonna be keeping track of it.
Well, already just yesterday the comments have jumped up over almost 200. So that's good news. But we need them to understand we're not playing. This needs to happen, and it'll open up spots. Buddy will have more choices when he comes to town.
Man.
And it's just a beautiful thing when we're well funded. We can do things.
Yeah.
You know, I used to
Right.
subsidize one family every year. I can't do it's until 2011. Then I had to stop.
Wow.
You know, because I couldn't afford it anymore. But there's always, if we're well funded, we can do things.
Let's get you
There
So,
you
well
go.
funded.
There you go.
Uh,
I thank you
I'll even
very,
I'll
very
even
much.
I'll even come work for you too for a little while. But I'll be there to do this. Like you may put your inside voice on before I put your outside. I'll be
See,
like,
and you already brought up the no, and it's so hot. That's why I'm giving these babies a lot of pass. I got balls in my living room right now. and they're playing soccer because it's too
It's too
hot.
hot.
Don't take the
It's
babies
too hot.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody drink your water, be good to yourself, and click and comment. And thank you for having me and letting me rub my mouth and the kids too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Thank you.
coming on.
Now, how do I exit out of this thing though? You got to tell me because this is not Zoom.
I'm gonna let you go right now. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Erika Felt. We're going to take a quick break, come back and jump into the comments. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you. Be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat time with
Hey.
Ghost listeners, radio listeners. It's Wednesday. If you have forgotten already, it's Wednesday, the 23rd of August.
Man.
And yeah, man, we are getting deep here on childcare. We've been this is an evergreen topic. We talk about it all the time on this channel. Have various childcare providers that are in the chat. We finally heard from one and got a call to action to go ahead and click that link and write in a comment. That bill needs to pass. And of course, if you have any testimonies about how early childhood development helped, that's even more powerful. But yeah, if we can go ahead and we got a couple call to actions this show for sure, man. Let's donate to the family that lost a child. Let's donate to let's go ahead and send a little letter to the legislature here on these regulations, man. Get this bill passing too. So if you guys can help us out, this is Boots to the Roots season 6. That means everybody who's gonna help and is a part of this help team. This is action time now. So we're gonna be gathering the folks up that regularly help and act on some of the things that we're putting out here, so that we can do some bigger things in season 7. So if you want to be a part of that, please, the challenges are out there for you right now, including the challenge of joining your neighborhood association. That challenge is still there too. If you don't have one in your neighborhood, then the challenge is for you to start a neighborhood association. And we hope by season 7, we got some really good representation in there, some really good people that we know are going to act when it's time to act. And we can kind of direct some efforts so that we can all make some real change and difference here. So really appreciate everybody that is a part of that so far. You guys are the ones that really gave me that idea. You guys are the ones that are taking that action and going for it. So really appreciate everybody that does that. Vaughn Chapman in the chat real quick says, don't forget the philanthropists who are controlling the entire housing industry while investing in juvenile justice centers and prisons. Life on the plantation is intentionally controlled.
Man.
We cannot deny any of that. That is something that's a conclusion that we are coming to. The more conversations we have about these things, and we're seeing these plans, the same people who are putting money behind certain things are also funding these juvenile justice centers, and they're not just funding them, but voting on them, voting for them, a lot of stuff. So there's always questions out there about what's the vision here for everyone. But very interesting to get a little perspective on the child care situation more. So we'll have to have Gwen Easter on next for the next guest when it comes to this particular subject, and talk to her about a lot what she said, that she's another chat timer who is a child care provider that has been in the business for years and has watched this decline in big ways. So my Pop said Miss Erika Felt is so knowledgeable. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Miss Erika Felt. Appreciate that. Appreciate you coming on. And yes, you got a lot of knowledge on this situation. And she was trying to break some of these things down to me, but it was going to all go over to my head. So I'm glad she
Mm.
came on and decided to break some of it down for us.
Yeah. Definitely biggest thing jumping out to me is how just kind of how, especially she talking about the pandemic, how some of this money is distributed. We've talked about this with the rental assistance that went out. It seems like again, these nonprofits in these churches have a lot of say, and we're not seeing enough of these nonprofits and churches in the streets. Really, it's
Yeah,
kind of questionable. Like if you're not a part of these nonprofits, if you're not aware of these nonprofits, if these nonprofits are not aware of you, then you're not getting the assistance that you actually need.
yeah,
Is very interesting. Kind of just reminds me of what Paul always talks about with the paternalism. Like they don't want to allow you and get out the way and allow you to do what you have to do for yourself. And where you do need help, they don't want to help you. And the help that they do give got a bunch of strings and hoops attached.
and drugs and bad.
Right.
Thanks for everybody's comments on these things. Like I said, we'll definitely be digging back into this. That's just the nature of this show, and the nature of you, the chat chimers. A lot of what we talk about here has been determined by who's here, what our audience is, who our audience is, and what the fields you guys are in, and what you guys are saying about these fields that affect us all. I like the thing that stood out to me too is Miss Erika Felt is saying it's not just about the child care situation. All work and everything stops if you ain't got nobody watching the kids.
Yep.
So there's a
Yep.
lot of I know personally a couple friends that had to shut their small restaurants and small business and stuff down because they couldn't afford to run it and be able to have their kids watch while they ran it. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? It was not just quitting jobs, but quitting businesses. Shutting businesses down because the infrastructure doesn't allow for you to be able to have some help. Ms. Erika Feld is back on saying thank you for giving in-home child care owners the voice. Yes, value in-home child care. That's the next like Buddy you're describing. They're gonna stay with grandma, or they're going or the next step is the in-home child care providers that are in our neighborhoods, the neighbors and the friends that we know that own these businesses that want to help
Man.
and know who your kids are. You know.
Yeah, luckily we've been able to, since being down here, been able to find and develop a community, and now have somebody that we can rely on to. But even still, she's not doing it for free. We still have to pay her, which is still a catch-22 because you gotta, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
There you go. Malik Rogers is asking, what's the status on your invites to Empowerment Network and people like Ricky Smith? Ricky Smith still hasn't reached back. I have talked to brother Willie Barney. I don't know why that escaped me. It's just a matter of us getting together and getting on. But Kimber had a really good suggestion for me. Miss Kimber Snipes suggested that I make some time during the week and start hitting them 360 meetings. There's a lot of people that I can talk to there, including Ricky Smith, the one that runs that meeting, I believe. Willie Barney's always there. That's when the police chief comes out. The mayor be there sometimes. So I'm gonna start making my face known at the 360 meetings and trying to rile some people up to come on the show and ask them some questions and all that good stuff. So we'll keep on working on that. We are going to be having Brother Kasim come on. And speaking of people that need to come on, BAA is coming on next Monday. We'll be talking to him and talking about these stuff that's going on at the BAA. There's a whole bunch of new announcements and things that are happening right now. That we want to keep abreast. Yes, nobody else is gonna make that headline news but us. That's what it is. So yeah, appreciate everybody who's jumped in on that. Man, it's 8:54 right now already. 6 minutes left in the show, buddy. Is there any lightning round stuff that we need to be throwing in real quick before we jump on some haps, or did we get through it?
There are a few more kind of jumping into education, which is kind of right along the lines of what we're talking about, going from early childhood education into again college education. Talking about student loans and some other programs out there. In regards to student loans, our partners over at Nebraska Examiner has an article talking about what to know about the new federal policies for repaying student loans. Again, a lot of changes going on with the Biden administration, still trying to push for fulfilling that promise, of again debt relief for millions and millions of borrowers. But again, following this latest Supreme Court decision over the summer, ruling against the 40 million federal student loan borrowers who would have qualified for debt relief, the Biden administration has crafted a year-long delay in repayments. The policy known as an on-ramp is set to begin next month. It's estimated by the administration that more than 20 million borrowers will benefit from this plan. Here's a link where borrowers can apply. A campaign is being launched to publicize the new program by the Department of Education in collaboration with groups like Student Debt Crisis Center, Unidos US, and the NAACP. So again, here's a link for those who are interested or may fall within that 20 million borrower range. So definitely check this out to see if again qualify for assistance on your student loans. So this is a big hampering to many who borrow, and are not even working in their field, and again still struggling financially. So we'll definitely look at that situation. And then also Creighton is to receive $5.2 million donation to train nursing students. Again, healthcare industry, a huge industry in the Omaha area specifically. Again, Creighton University's College of Nursing will receive $5.2 million boost from the Harper Family Foundation to recruit and train nursing students. In a press release Monday, Creighton said the historic donation for the Harper Scholars Nursing Program will nearly fully cover the tuition costs for a total of 30 nursing students across 4 graduating classes. Applications for the first round of scholarships, which will cover recipients beginning in the fall of 2024, are being accepted now. So if you have any young people who are looking at Creighton, who are interested in getting into the field of nursing, they have opportunity for having their education fully paid for. I'm not seeing any links, but again, this is being offered through the Harper Scholars Nursing Program. Again, the Harper Scholars Nursing Program at Creighton.
Well, it's just information on the fact that they're getting this funding and that they're going to be able to cover some tuition. So if you happen to be somebody or know somebody who is trying to get into the nursing field, good time to hit Creighton up. They're getting some big dollars.
Yeah. And last but not least, in other news, the Omaha Streetcar Authority chiming up about their board of directors adopting a policy Monday, which will limit which board members can talk with news media. The board also adopted a policy setting rules on public testimony at its meeting. So it seems like they're getting tight-lipped, if you will, with the situation. Again, a lot of money, a lot of investment going into this streetcar project, which kind of raises our brows as to why they're cutting off news media or limiting public testimony in such a public situation. Again, this is all about public transportation, yet the public are getting limited access. Very questionable, and we will definitely continue looking at this situation. Note that it was also adopted unanimously, so apparently the whole board of directors feel the same for this policy.
Crazy. And there it is, the lightning round. We appreciate everybody who joined in, and also put some of this stuff in Friends of Sky Omaha, which is where we gather a lot of this information. A lot of the stuff that we pick is stuff that you picked and put there. So thank you very much. Really appreciate that very much. Everybody's still asking for Ricky Smith. We'll keep on asking him for to come on in. So get your questions ready, because I'm sure that one day he will respond, and we'll come on in with it. I'll get a little bit more diligent on trying to get him in as well, since it seems like everybody has some questions for him and other organizations. I have questions for these organizations too, but I really am more focused on what kind of solutions we can come up with for some of the stuff that we can do. I feel like I'm in that mode where it's us that needs to do it now. I'm not really too concerned too much about 360 and what Empowerment Networking. Those guys are doing what they're gonna do. If we find out that they're blocking efforts, that's one thing. But if they're doing what they're doing, we're seeing avenues we can do what we do. Let's just all do something. Try to make something.
We'll do it. Right.
2 minutes left. I'm gonna jump into a little bit of haps.
Okay.
What's happening? What's going down?
Actually, 1 minute left. So if you guys got any haps, go ahead and put those in as well. And we'll just real briefly talk about a couple things that's going on tomorrow night. DJ Scotty Pigeon is going to be over at Nightlight. This is the adult night for Luminarium. If you guys want to go check that out, from 7 to 10, it's going down. Reserve your tickets on their Luminarium site. There you can go there and check that out. But yeah, this is supposed to be a pretty fun event. I haven't been to these yet, but it's adults only Thursday nights happening. And of course, our own DJ Scotty Pigeon is going to be over there DJing starting at 7 o'clock. So go check it out if you have not yet. 345 Riverfront Drive. They're really doing some stuff on the riverfront over there. You might want to go just to see it.
Man.
First place.
Yeah, next to the Luminarium, they got the new Conagra Park open. So yeah, a lot of things going.
There you go. Also want to give a shout out to these brothers, man. I think this is a really genius event right here, man. This the sneaker soiree. It gives us a chance to honor the culture. Folks get dressed up, man. You see cats with blazers, but they got their fresh pair of sneakers that on too. Man. Really kind of bigging up the culture there. So really appreciate these cats that's putting on. This is the 4th year they've done it. Definitely go to the slowdown.com, get your tickets for the sneaker soiree September 1st.
Big shout out to my guy, DJ Giddy Jiki with it. Also, man, bringing some talented musical guests too. Not just going to be some good sneakers and culture in the area, but some good music is coming, man. Some national acts. So yeah. You haven't seen the lineup?
I saw a little bit of a flyer, man. I didn't really dig in and check it out too much, but we'll bring that up next time. Matter of fact, let's have DJ Jiki on if he wants to come on.
Yeah. I'll holler at him.
Yeah. Holla. Also, I want to give Mixes a shout out, man. August 26th from 2 to 7, they got a block party happening, and they also are going to have some basketball games going on, some live music happening, some DJs. They're gonna be playing games, face painting, prizes. They're doing it big over here for their 5th year anniversary over here at Mixins. Breaking news live at 5. Block party, 5-year anniversary, bro.
And actually, big shout out to Trishana. She actually just had her at Atlanta Mixins grand opening, not too far from my house. So again, just opened up her Mixins location here in Atlanta, and it looks like it's gonna be the start of an empire, man. I can definitely see her growing to other areas. And it could be an ice cream empire starting right in Omaha from a girl straight out of Omaha, North Side. So definitely big shout out to Trishana making waves and making moves.
Shout out to Julian Young Financial Advisory, who was also helped her do what she's doing. We're trying to adopt the same formula so we can get big like Trishana. So shout out to Julian Young and them, man. Appreciate everybody that's behind all the good business that's happening there. That's really what's going on for real. Don't forget about Afrofest coming up as well. They are also turning 5 this year. A lot of stuff happened 5 years ago, huh? September 2nd. Man. It was going down to Stinson Park. And if you have been there before, then you know the numbers are going to the thousands now, man. There's a lot of people that come out to this, and a lot of food trucks, a lot of good music, a lot of good fellowship. It's just really, really, really interesting to be at this place, man. You feel like you're walking into Wakanda when you're walking into Stinson Park when this is happening, bro. Afrofest Omaha 2023 is happening, and that is Saturday, September 2nd. So mark your calendars for that for sure. Also, before the end of the month happens, which is coming up in a few days, you got to vote. We got to go ahead and vote. Public nominations close on August 31. This is for the OEAA Awards. Failed to get the link, but I'll put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha for you to get the link on that situation there. Definitely vote before the 31st is concerned. We're going to have Allie Peeler on Friday to talk about this vote, and she's going to break down what we got to do, how we got to do it. And, give us some suggestions about, sometimes I need to be reminded too, who's out there doing stuff that I saw and that I liked. Some reminders so I can remember to vote for them for sure. And this time, hopefully we get some kind of, we need to get a podcast category going on at the OEAAs, man. We would win.
Yeah.
Just jiving. Anyway, yeah.
Hey, no, that's actually a good suggestion. There's a lot of podcasts out there. People need recognition.
Hundreds of podcasts going on out there for sure. So yeah, man, that's about it, man. Also don't forget about the happy hour. We had our Tuesday happy hour of Benson Theater yesterday. Hey. A lot of folks came out to this, man. It's turning into a thing for sure. We're gonna have some pop-up art shops. There's a new comic book store that's opening up in Benson. We're gonna have them over and do a welcome to the neighborhood happy hour probably next Tuesday. So yeah, this is happening too, man. Benson Theater Community Networking Happy Hours happening 3 to 7 every Tuesday. Come down and join us. It's turning into a thing.
It's not the upper room; it's the front room.
The front room, Benson Theater, man. We can cut up a little bit. So that's what's up. Thank you for everybody that's joined us. It is 9:04. We apologize for running past our agreement. Buddy, you got any words for the people?
Yeah, man. Big shout out to Miss Erika Felt taking time from the babies to come talk to us. We appreciate that, giving us much needed information. Again, please make sure you go and support our child care providers. Go ahead and make comment. Again, it doesn't have to be a whole diatribe. Just let the people know that you support this and that it is needed. So again, have your voice be heard on that. And without further ado, man, big shout out to all the chat chimers, ghost listeners, everybody who continues to support. I was looking at the YouTube numbers. They are going in the right direction. So again, we appreciate that. Please make sure, if you have not already, to go ahead and hit that like button, as Miss Erika Felt reminding us. Again, be sure to click that thumbs up on the YouTube if you appreciated the episode. She also says, is the mayor okay? So definitely, hopefully everything is all right with Mayor Sanchez. Usually he's in the chat. Didn't really see him today. So again, hopefully everything's all right. And yeah, take care of yourselves. Please, please, please check on your loved ones. Stay out of this heat and catch the same time, same place, man. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. In the meantime, in between time, Paul B. Take it away.
Pops said, awesome show. Can't wait till Friday. Appreciate you, Pops.
Yes,
can't
yes.
wait till Friday either. Allie Peeler is one of my favorite people in Omaha, so I can't wait to have her on and have some good conversations. So stay tuned for that. And I just want to thank everybody who's come on for sure. We really appreciate everybody who's jumped in the chat. And yeah, shout out to Mayor Sanchez, man. He's missed when he ain't around for sure. So we'll see. We'll hit him up, see what's going on there. But thanks for joining us again. I want to thank Miss Erika Felt for coming on, taking the time, even with babies in tow. And everything else that was going on. So appreciate that information, and we will definitely try to do something about that. Thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to, oh, there he is right there, man. Ron's Review says operating a backhoe. Thanks. He outside working and still listening to us. So I appreciate you, brother Mayor Sanchez. I hope you ain't standing in that heat too long out there with that backhoe. So yeah, take it easy, bro. Drink some water. I want to give thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And thanks to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. We always appreciate all of your comments. And you are the co-host to this show. The show doesn't happen without you chiming on in, chat chimers. So appreciate you very much. If you missed any parts of this show, go back and check it out. Facebook, YouTube in its entirety. And definitely check out the chats when you're over there checking it out. Spread the word. Share the show with people that you think might appreciate the show, that need some information, especially on early child care and everything else that we talked about today, because there's a wealth of information that happened today on this subject. So definitely spread the show around if you think that people are interested in that. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. And thanks to all the reoccurring sponsors of the channel as well, the $10 people, the $25 people, the $50 people. Thank you so much for donating to us, to our cause, to what it is we're trying to do here with this virtual neighborhood association that we have here that we call First Sky Omaha in the morning. Thanks for everybody that's participating in that and helping us pay for it as well. If you're so inclined, go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the donate button if you haven't already, and help us continue this out. There's going to be more information coming out probably a little later on today about the Saturday Content Creators Camp. We're going to be at a different spot this Saturday. We haven't locked down what spot that is quite yet, but we will let you know very sometime today. So be looking out for that email. If you have not, if you've signed up to register for that, you'll be getting an email with a newsletter about where we're going to be at. And I'll also post it on Friends of First Sky Omaha and the First Sky Omaha page as well. So stay tuned for that. And we hope that everybody who missed last week, hopefully you get there this week. Really appreciate if you did. We had a low attendance last week, and it was a little bit discouraging, but we appreciate the people that came out. And we want to make sure that you who have been involved already, come on back and tell a friend and bring somebody with you so we can really kind of get into this thing together. It's kind of like a mini Chat Chimers kickback when we get together. So definitely come on through. We really appreciate that very much. Thank you. Again, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We apologize for going past the time, but I appreciate everybody that stuck with us to the bitter end here, and we will definitely see you Friday. Please call on your loved ones and make sure that everybody's air conditioner is working this next few days. Man. It's actually supposed to get up to 107 and feel like 119 outside.
Man, that's ridiculous. Peace to Brother Sherman Wells. I see you in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all take care of you. Yeah, y'all take care, man. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red